Hey, hello everybody. Today I'm going to review a fountain pen. I usually don't review fountain pens because I'm not fond of fountain pens. I haven't used one in many years. This fountain pen that I'm particularly interested today comes from India. Before I start even reviewing about the fountain pen and unbox the packages that originally came from India, recently I have to use the fountain pen for the very first time in the last 27 years. I didn't even know that there is a huge fan base of fountain pen exists today. I stumbled across the website Fountain Pen Network. It's a kind of a blog or a um, discussion board where there are a lot of fountain pen enthusiasts. One particular section got my attention, and I was surprised to find that there are some renowned fountain pen manufacturers in India, especially the South India, where I originally hail from. So I thought I would purchase some fountain pens and have them shipped to USA and see if I am as excited and as interested in shifting out of the fountain pens or start collecting them as I used to be when I was a 7 year old. So the fountain pens that you are looking at today are Prasad pens. You will be surprised to know that once these were mass produced, they were first started producing in as back as 1953. That was when they first produced their fountain pen in India, especially in the parts of southern India. Unfortunately, very little is known about these pens today because they stopped manufacturing these pens, Prasad fountain pens. I believe it's been more than a decade they actually sold any of them. So whatever you see them are the last of their ready stock. Um, I believe they sold their company to some other company in 1977. So very little is known about the Prasad pens, but today I can show you some of the last known products that's been manufactured or sold today. As I am not a fountain pen enthusiast or someone who uses them regularly, please forgive me um, if I use any wrong description of the product or anything that does not match the standards of a regular fountain pen reviewer. So this is my first fountain pen review, so please forgive me if I this is how they came from in the shipment. They came along with some fountain pen ink. Unfortunately, the ink bottles did not make it. So what I have is 5 specimens of Prasad fountain pens that hail from a small town called Tenali in southern India. So let me unbox them one by one. Pardon me for not having a equipment that can record this video without a shaky hand, so I have to use my right hand as I review these pens using my left hand. Okay, so what we have here, we have fine Prasad fountain pens that been shipped over to me in mail as soon as the lockdown was as soon as the lockdown restrictions were dropped. So I was actually trying to get hold of these pens since January, but finally they've been delivered. Like I told, only these 5 pens made it to me. There is one more shipment coming up. I would like to show you how they look in their original package from 1970s. So I still have the picture of the package that how they used to sell in a small metallic box like a steel box. Let me show you that. So as you can see in this picture, this is how they look in their original package. Let me zoom. Yeah, there you go. There's the focus. As you can see, the vintage packaging. This is all a you can see the Prasad pen logo. This is from the 1950s and 60s, and these are their only leftover collection Most of those pens they stopped manufacturing more than a decade ago. If I won't be, you won't be surprised if it's even like it's been more than 2 decades probably. I have another picture to show. There you go. So these are some of the stock that's going to be delivered next month, and there's the ink fillers in between. So let's see what we have in our hand. So these are the 5 pens that I have. As you can see, this is I have no clue what their original trademark names are. This is a cigar shaped fountain pen, and this one, as you can see, let me have a close up. Yeah, as you can see, they both are of the almost the same shape, but I like the green one better. Um, most mostly because it's brilliant in color, and I cannot explain the texture on the pen because I'm not a fountain pen reviewer. But as you go through the fountain pen blocks, the amount of details those reviewer gives is way brilliant. I mean, that is why um, I wanted to myself dip into the new hobby of collecting fountain pens. So I started with collecting these rare Prasad pens. I originally come from India, so when I was a kid, I used to have these pens in one of my collection, but I barely knew the name of the product. But now I know they are Prasad pens. They're called Prasad pens. Um, yeah, and there's one more. So they're they're both the same models, but a different. As you can see, one is cigar shaped, and the one is more like a, I don't know. It's a slimmer than the other, but you can see the Prasad pins Tenali, the brand name engraved. It's not engraved; it's a print on the body of the pen. Yeah, it's a um, gold plated. Um, yeah, you can see in the top. These are the smaller ones. Um, they are slim and very small. Let me compare them side by side. Pardon my language or pardon my explanation. I'm very novice when it comes to the fountain pen. This is my first review. Maybe I learn more words as I collect more pens. Maybe I gather more knowledge and know how to explain them properly. These are the smaller pens. They're very slim and small in length, and also they're not as thick as the other ones. This one is the most expensive that I have to pay for, along with this green pen. These are really cheaper relatively. Let me put them next to the scale so that you know how how tall they are. Basically they are, yeah. Let me put them side by side so that you know. Yeah. So I arranged them in descending order. Uh, well, this one looks a little taller, so they let it. Yeah. So that's how they look now. Yeah. So yeah, let me open the open the cap and show you the nib. So this is basically a screw system, as you all probably know, and there is a small. Let me show close up. Yeah, you might probably not see properly. There is a um, yeah, as you can see, there is a small hole probably to allow the air pressure in to prevent the ink from spilling. And this is as you can see, the Prasad engraved on the nib. Usually, yeah. So this is a regular steel nib. So I don't know what they call this nib in, but I'm unable to focus this. Let me get closer. So they pretty much say the same thing. Yeah. This is another cheaper pen. This is not as small as the pen that I just shown you. This is one of those mass produced pens. My grandparents used to carry them in their pockets all the time. So this is probably the same design. They were first ever produced in 1950s. So what you're looking at is some history. Yeah. So these small ones, you can see a Parker inspired. Yeah, this arrow is comes from the Parker design. Yeah. So there is some inspiration from the well-known products. Yeah. This one has the same arrow nib, not the nib. Yeah, the cap. Yeah, there you go. I think you have a better look now. Yeah, that's much better. So next comes the pen that I most liked. Um, the you don't see any arrow clip, but you see the air vent, and the barrel doesn't have any Prasad pin or any brand name on it. But this is a regular screw system. Let me open it for you. So the nib is very interesting. It's a golden monotone fine tipped nib. Um, this is their exclusively Prasad brand. So it's very rare to see, as per my knowledge that I gathered so far, to have a nib that is developed locally. So this is probably one of those golden nibs that Prasad has first produced, and this is on the expensive side. That's why I like this better color, and also this clean texture gives it some kind of unique look. Whereas the regular brownish texture, this is very quite common for a fountain pen that I know. Yeah, usually the people of a higher grade, like principal of a school or someone as a high court judge or someone high up in their profession, usually prefers this color back in when I was a very young kid. So it is also, these pens are also have hold some level of social status back then. So not everyone could afford a celluloid pen, so not everyone could afford a ebonite pen that has so much detail like this one you see. I might be wrong, but that's what my assumption when I was a kid. So the pen tells you how rich that person was, because back in those days, you don't have a, like, I'm talking about India, southern India mostly. Um, People used to spend a lot of money on um, the belongings like fountain pen, and uh, jewelry like a watch. All of these are the symbols of wealth status. So yeah, so yeah. So you look at the three different section of pens. Most of them are mass produced. So I think yeah. Now what I'm going to do is I got some green ink. Um, I haven't filled a fountain pen in years. Like I said, the last time I ever used a fountain pen was in 93 or 94. So it's been long ago, long time. I'm going to get my hands dirty and fill some of these pens with the green ink and see how they write. Okay, so they use I'm going to use this filler. I believe these are eyedropper. Pardon my knowledge on the fountain pens. I'm assuming they call this system as eyedropper, where you just drop the ink. So let's see how well they do when they write. I got my fingers dirty already, and as you can see, I have the barrel open. The barrel is all open now, and when you open the barrel, this is how the nib section is. Probably this is where it takes the fluid, the ink fluid, then it probably flows through the nib and to the tip. Um, yeah, let's fill up this barrel with the green ink and see how it writes. Alright, so this pen now has some ink to it, and I'm letting it flow to the nib. Once it reaches the nib, I'll try to doodle something and see how smooth it is and how fine it writes. Okay, so it's taking some time for the nib to get wet. I'm really not sure if I'm doing it right. So what I will do is I will also fill the other pens um, with the ink and see if some of them can write. And yeah, so this is the ink that I'm using it today, green ink. This is the smallest of the pens that I collected. This is how the nib looks. This is the barrel. Yeah. In this one the ink flew pretty well, but my hands got really dirty because I overflowed the barrel. As you can see, some ink is oozing out. Let's try my hands. So I'm not sure if I'm using a proper ink, as you can see, but it writes really lucid. I mean, it writes really great, like, yeah. Let me try using a better paper. I have a calligraphy paper. Let me try calligraphy paper. So gather some calligraphy fine paper. Um, let's see how it writes. So by using back side of the pen, things get dry really fast. So you can barely write with the reverse nib position. Forward nib position, yeah, I'm not ruining the reputation of Prasad pens here, because I'm a rookie who doesn't know how to use a fountain pen, like I said. Maybe I need to give it some more hand. Alright, let's hop on to the next pen. This pen, as you can see, it's bleeding some ink, but I'm not able to let it flow to the tip. So I will call this pen as a failure. Maybe I'm not doing it right. So we'll move on to the next pen. So the next pen that I'm going to write with is this guy here. I don't know the brand name, but he's the most expensive. And the ink that I'm using today is